Hello, I am Gary Thomas. I'm former professor at Olivet Nazarene University in the art department. I'm now currently a pastor, and I'm going to talk just for a few minutes about centering prayer, which is a form of Christian meditation. So first, I want to give you just the guidelines. There's a step-by-step process to centering prayer. Um, so the first part of the guideline, number one, is choose a sacred word as a symbol of your intention to consent to God's presence and action within. A sacred word can be any word. There's nothing especially sacred about your sacred word. It just becomes a symbol for you. Usually it's a one syllable word, something that's very simple, doesn't take up a lot of time. But that sacred word will become important as we move forward into the centering prayer process. Number two, sitting comfortably with eyes closed, settle briefly and silently introduce the sacred word as your symbol, as the symbol of your consent to God's presence and action within. So sitting comfortably, but alert, not slouching. Usually, when you're engaging in this form of prayer, you want to be somewhat alert. You don't want to fall asleep. So sitting up straight, having both feet firmly planted to the ground. Sometimes I might even sit with my hands in a kind of a receiving fashion, on sitting with my hands like that on my lap. Um, Number three, when engaged with your thoughts, return ever so gently to the sacred word. Um, you will be engaged with your thoughts. It's going to happen. Some practitioners of this form of prayer will say it's about, and by the way, you'll spend about 10 to 20 minutes doing this on average, um, but they say that it's 10 minutes of failure. That is, by failure, I mean every time your mind begins to wander off, your mind will begin to become engaged. I mean, the Buddhists call it the monkey mind, and so we do tend to have a mind that wanders about. Always something to think about, and always something that we're not really intentionally thinking about, but there it is. And so, every time your mind begins to wander off, you gently introduce the sacred word into your mind. So for me, my sacred word this year, and I usually try to keep a particular word every year, the same word every year. And this year for me, it has been strength. The word strength. So when my mind starts to wander off, I will immediately and gently just speak that word into my mind, strength. And I don't speak it out loud. I just think it in my mind, and it is a way to alert me or to trigger me or to catch myself and bring myself back into the space where I have put myself, where God's presence and action within can continue. And then number four, finally, at the end of the prayer period, remain silent with your eyes closed for just another minute or so. It's just a way to kind of gently re-engage back into the space that you're in. Centering prayer isn't anything fancy. It's just a way to I kind of liken it to tilling the soil of your soul so that it is more receptive to the presence of God and any kind of seed that God wants to plant there, either during your time of centering prayer or maybe later on throughout the day. This is not one of those things where you're going to immediately get some kind of a spiritual experience. Usually that doesn't happen that way. But if you practice this daily, I've been practicing this for several years now, daily practice of this, you will find yourself more peaceful, more responsive to God's presence, more able to hear God's voice throughout the day. It's a very powerful practice to engage in. So I hope you'll take the time and not just try it out, but try it out for a season. Try it out. Maybe even make it your goal the rest of this semester of the school year to engage in this practice, at least for, I would say most practitioners go for about 20 minutes, and you can really literally just set the timer on your phone. I usually do it for about 10 minutes on average every morning during my prayer time. A very important part of my prayer time is my centering prayer part of my prayer time. But practice it every day for the rest of the semester, and watch and see if you do not become more of a calming presence to those around you, and also you experience the continuing presence of God. Well, God bless you as you continue to practice this. Thank you.